and has not had a contact visit with his mother in over 35 years.
I know. It's criminal what they're doing to him. I've been corresponding with Yogi for about 37 years or something, 35 off and on. But more recently, since he's been in the SHU since 1990, we've been corresponding very consistently, and I've had the opportunity to visit him a few times. And I'm amazed at his strength, and I'm sure Georgia can describe his physical condition as amazing as well. Georgia, talk a little bit. You visited Yogi. Talk a little bit about him, and I think you've been visiting him for about 8 years now.
Yeah. It makes me smile to think of him because he's such a ball of energy, and you all know this. He moves around, and he's up and down, and
yes,
and he's a
high
very
energy.
physical person, and that's how he survives. He exercises fiendishly.
Yeah,
And
he's in great shape.
You know, on a non-push-up day, he described that he does 500 push-ups. And he's just I think of his body like a finely calibrated instrument, and if he wants to gain a pound or lose one, he just turns up or down the dial. He knows his body very finely. But it's seen wear and tear. I mean, he has a terrible fungal infection in his fingernails on one hand that certainly could happen to people outside, and it's a very hard thing to get rid of. But it just gives you an idea of how not healthy the environment is. It's dank, and there's nothing that can be done for this year after year, and so you see on the edges of his good health,
right,
the problems, the skin color that's non-existent.
I know. He used to be brown, and it's just amazing how pale he's gotten.
It's not good.
Yeah.
And he also has, from his years as a warrior, broken his hands many times, and you can see the effects.
Mm-hmm.
So he's had a rough life, and when they pulled his tooth out in his 20s, he had a tooth removed. They pulled it out without Novocaine to torture him. And
they've done a lot of torturing.
You know, you just see, if you
Ugo.
just look a little more deeply, you see this is not a good situation, even though he keeps up a very strong front.
He's been in solitary confinement now for about 38 years, all told. Not all of them in the SHU, because the SHU only opened in '89. I mean, Pelican Bay opened in '89. He was prior to that in Corcoran and Folsom and San Quentin lockups. And he has had a clean record, no write-ups whatsoever, since 1985. And it's obscene that he's still in there, and still, I mean, the least they could do is let him go to a main line. 44 years in prison is just ridiculous. So I think that people should write letters. Charles, would you encourage people to write to the parole board? Or?
Well, certainly, yes. I don't have the information with me, but he's up for parole again this year, exactly when it'll probably be in the summer. And, you know, if you can offer him a job, it would be useful. Of course, he's to that age of retirement age now.
Yeah, he's in his 60s.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, he has his mom is here in San Francisco, is still alive.
He has a place to go, yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he would be a value to anybody in the community for a strength of spirit. Couldn't find a more stronger person, and I've never met a stronger person. Maybe
I think
Geronimo
he would
Pratt.
be a wonderful mentor for our young,
Exactly.
at-risk youth.
Exactly.
Amazing. Yes, he would be wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And for more information, people can go to www.ugopinell.org. That's HUGOPINELL.org. So I hope people will check out the website, and all the information is there. That to write to the board, to write to him, and give him some support, and if only send him some love. Okay. I wanted to touch a little bit, and by the way, folks, if you'd like to call in and ask our guests some questions, feel free. The live line is open. I also wanted to mention the overall prison situation. The prison population in the United States has increased 500% in the last 30 years. And the U.S. now holds the unholy distinction of being the world's #1 jailer. Okay, 751 people per 100,000. 6 times blacks are arrested at over 6 times the rate of whites, so it's very racist. And the prison system traffics 14 million people every year, and 7 million are on probation, parole, or locked up. 2.4 million are literally locked up at any given time, and the prisons are so overcrowded. And right here in California, the governor is promising to build more prisons. So can you elaborate how is Prison Focus and Partisan Defense Committee, how are they dealing with these issues?
These issues are totally overwhelming, and it's crushing to hear of one prisoner's struggle and try to imagine how to help when it's so hard to get through those walls and make any sense with the prison guards union and the public. But the proliferation of prisons is a terrible process that's hard to stop. But there are some wonderful local groups like Critical Resistance, which has now gone national, and Prison Activist Resource Center, and Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, and California Prison Focus, that work together on bigger actions.
And California Prison Focus has a weekly radio
program. Yeah, we have
program.
a radio show on Thursdays from 11 to 12 on KPOO in San Francisco, and I don't know the
89.5 FM.
But so really getting the word out as much as possible, and when we band together our different groups, and beyond just the prison groups, Freedom Archives is a wonderful group, and
right, and they're right here in the city on Valencia.
Yeah,
right.
That's when I feel like when we get together and do conferences, we can make a movement.
Right.
That's what we need.
And then Charles, tell us a little bit about the Partisan Defense Committee.